covers adverse claims and adverse rights. Anything to the contrary or what's described in that patent. So if Ravalli County had a road there, if they had a road there, that's questionable too. We have all this information to show it never went past the gate, really. If it did, Ravalli County failed to state their claim during the comment period, so you're barred. Can't come back, the door's closed. I would guess the federal government did this for a reason. If they're turning over clear supreme title to the land, they probably don't want anybody coming back 6 months later, 120 years later saying, whoa, wait a minute, we got a claim on this ground. Wait a minute. No, you don't have a claim. If you did, you lost it because you didn't participate in the patent process. You didn't identify that interest at the time the process was going on. So no, you're barred. Anyone's barred from any type of claim. In the state of California, I'm going to read the decision. California, at this late date, asserts its public trust easement over petitioner's property. When the petitioner's predecessors in interest had their interest confirmed without any mention of such easement in the federal patent proceedings. The interest claimed by California is one of such substantial magnitude that regardless of the fact the claim is asserted by the state in its sovereign capacity, this interest must have been presented in the patent proceedings or be barred.
Please. Yeah. Well, first of all, I need to reiterate that there's been an opinion from the county attorney himself, Bill Fulbright himself, that this board's authority to act comes statutorily, and that's the only ability that they have to act. And what we're acting on currently is a petition to abandon the board, where they made a determination, and that was approved by, or the decision that they made was approved by the Montana Supreme Court. So on that hearing where we're at right now, they do not have the ability to change their mind on this. Okay. But let me finish.
Go ahead.
The only thing that they have the ability to do statutorily is to consider it as a new matter. And statutorily, they have the ability to reconsider if there's a new petition to abandon the road that is filed. That's statutorily, that's their only authority. And I understand that the landowners may not want to file a petition that looks like that because they did it before.
They got bit.
And they got bit by it.
That they cannot make a decision to abandon their claim on this road or on this gate today. Right. That is, from what I understand, that is only through the UCC law that they're currently working through. Under
Just from a citizenry standpoint, I'm wondering if you guys have thought about how you're going to curb the trespass and figure out where people can and cannot go if you do take the gate out, and if there's any recommendation to hold that up until we can do further legal search on these, where we'd end up down the road, give the county attorney time to catch up on it more. I don't know. I don't know what your plans are. I'm not sure you know what they are either. But
we're just taking it as it comes, Tony. I mean, this new information was a lot. If it's a federal jurisdiction, then why not kick it to a federal court? If you're confident in your case, and I mean, I would support if somehow the landowners wanted to kick it to federal court, they think they've got a case. I would support holding off any decisions on the gate and allow it to go to the federal court and let them decide.
okay.
That's what we did before with we made a determination to remove within 30 days. We allowed it to go to the Supreme Court, allowed it to go through the appeal period to the U.S. Supreme Court before we acted. I mean, for me, I guess I'm not in a hurry if there's other legal avenues that...
You're not in any big hurry to take a gate out and cause chaos.
Mr. Chair.
On either side.
So, kind of building on what he said and what Rory has said and what we've heard here today. Can you hear me? My voice is about shot. But, I think it's important to make a couple of things clear. This process has taken a long time. There's been a lot written about it. There's been a lot said about it, and as Jeff said earlier, there have been a lot of accusations that have flown. And frankly, you know, when you sit in one of these chairs, you're subject to these.
And we're General Powers County, and as such, we only have the authority that is delegated and granted to us by the state of Montana.
Office, you hold a dual office. The first office is to the federal constitution. Your second office is through the UCC, through the corporate state. And you are being called to uphold the higher law. That's what you're being called to. Yes, when you work under UCC, you are held to the state. But when you're being called to the higher law, which definitely rules here, it's your responsibility by your oath of office to rise up to that higher law. And so far, you're not willing to do that.
Federal, we have some authority. They'd have to come to us if it's a public easement that the county protects. But if it's off onto their, for lack of a better term, and it's not private property, but it's Forest Service, it's federal property.
Public lands.
Public land. And they, once it crosses that boundary, they have the authority.
There were two key points to the petition that we got. One was all the landowners basically have to come in and support this if they're, and I don't know what the exact terms is. That road actually goes through Forest Service up where we had made the decision that the county road basically continue through these claims. The Forest Service did not agree to the abandonment of it. And the second part, and I think most critical, that kind of caught us off guard when we went through this process, was state law does not allow us to abandon a road that accesses public land and water.
My name's Eric Parker from Idaho. One of those guys that seems to have triggered you boys.
Triggered?
I'm gonna go do it again, and I just want to clear some things up before I go do it.
Do what?
Write my opinion that seems to have upset you boys. I'm just curious. I want to clear something up real quick. So is it your guys' opinion that they should do the same thing they did when they got bit? Is file again?
If they want us to relook at whether or not this road should be abandoned, it's the only mechanism by which we can change our mind.
Has state law changed?
No, but there's new information.
So you're asking them to come in here and do it again so that you can bite them again? Because you have no ability to do anything
That
otherwise.
presumes that we would want to bite them.
You have no ability to do anything otherwise, and you're suggesting that they do it. You say that you were under the impression that it was going to go the other way that first time. What changed? What happened?
One was
During that first
for me,
hearing, I guess
and
first
I can't
hearing.
speak for everybody, but for me, was the requirement under Montana law that we don't have the authority to abandon a road that accesses public land or public water without substantially similar access. That was,
I ask if it's your guys' opinion that they should do the same thing again and wait for the PLWA's lawyer to come in here and suggest you guys aren't allowed to do that. And, I mean, I don't understand. Are you guys of the opinion that they should do the exact same thing that got them in this mess? What are you suggesting? If you guys think you should go to federal court, that's between you and your constituents and taxpayers. But as of right this second, when I walk out and try to report to everybody who's paying attention, are you guys of the impression that they should do the same thing that they did?
Yes, sir. Oh, sorry, ma'am, we'll get to you next.
I'm going to go real quick. I thank you, commissioners, for giving the people an opportunity to speak.
Your name
My
for the
name
record?
is Tim Ravendall.
Thank you.
I'm from Broadwater County, and the reason I'm here today is specifically we have these issues going on all across Montana. I was part of Montana Multiple Use Association for years and years. One of the big battles that we ran into was public access to public lands across private property. What kind of got lost in the mix was private property, and it was mentioned earlier, is the foundation of our freedom in this country. So we ended up in a quagmire over how do we get that public access? And I fully, personally, having been engaged in this for 30 years, understand how that works. What I would like this commission and your legal counsel to take a real close look at is what's going on in Broadwater County right now. We have a lawsuit that's going on pending a very similar situation. One of the things that we found in the years and years and years of research and documentation of what's going on with the rights of the citizens, especially the private property owners, is when you talk about a public road or a public access, where does it start, where does it end? Well, back in the early days, sometimes those roads were moved in the interest of the mining operations. What we have here now in specifically Broadwater County, and it's really going forward, our county attorney, Corey Swanson, came forward and said, hey, wait a minute, Forest Service, you can't close that road. It's a county road and it goes clear through. What the hell are you doing? So we're out there right now. We're fighting for public access, but yet we're also trying to keep in mind private property is the foundation of making that ability. And so what I ask you folks to do is to take a look. Many, many times in the turn of the century, there was a petition submitted to make a public road or to abandon a road, and that's going on right now in the courts. Was it abandoned or was it closed? Because a lot of times a road closure stays on the books and it is a county jurisdiction. And I'm going to close right here. Don't ever say that the county and local government does not have the authority to do what's right for their citizens under the Constitution, and I'll refer to Prince versus United States. Thank you.